I must apologize for the delay. We are waiting for the first submission, people to make the first submission, which will, oh, Lakeside. No, no. Sorry. Is that the first group? Okay. So there's a change in schedule, just and it will be the MJ group, and Mr. Marcelino Julies will make submission, and thereafter it will be Lakeside Liquors. Since Mr. Julies is here, I think we can commence. I have a few opening remarks. First of all, just to introduce myself. I'm a Professor Emeritus from the University of Cape Town and a practicing attorney, and I chair the inquiry. On my left is Lulana Mtanga. She's a practicing attorney and a competition lawyer. The third member of the panel, Lumkile Mondi, is an economist from the University of Witwatersrand. He is unable to attend today and tomorrow, but given the fact that the proceedings are recorded, he will be able to he will have the transcript before him. In terms of our rules, it is permissible for us to sit as a panel with only two of us. The purpose of this short introduction is really to announce that this is the official commencement of the Grocery Retail Market Inquiry. This is the first public hearing, and I want to begin by stating that you will have seen what the Competition Commission does in respect, let's say, recently of the banking cartel, and just for you to recognize that we are an inquiry. We are not investigating any firm in the retail sector. Our object is to get as much information as possible on how the market operates. We are in the process of collecting evidence, which we will, as a panel, evaluate with the support of the technical team, which supports the panel. The technical team sits on the side, and I might then just at this point state that Ms. Louise Duplessis is the head of the task team, and is in a sense an evidence leader. She will be permitted to ask questions together with the two of us. Just to recognize that once we evaluate the evidence and the information received, we produce a report with recommendations. So the report is not binding, the recommendations aren't binding. However, the report and recommendations go to the Commission and then to the Minister, and from the Minister they are tabled in Parliament for debate in Parliament. So it is really very important that we're able to collect the fullest information possible in respect of how the retail sector works, because the quality of the recommendations depends on the quality of the information that we receive. Now, the Competition Act establishes public inquiries and gives us various powers and sets out our task. As I said once again, this is not an investigation into a particular firm. It is really seeking information on the sector, this particular market sector as a whole. On the 30th of October 2015, the Commission published a notice in the Government Gazette that it would conduct this inquiry. The inquiry was initiated, again in terms of the Competition Act, because the Commission had reason to believe that there exist features or combination of features in this market that may prevent, distort or restrict competition in the grocery retail market. The inquiry was also initiated to pursue the purposes of the Competition Act, among which is to promote and maintain competition in the Republic. The inquiry officially commenced on 27 November 2015. The terms of reference of the Commission are to be found on the website, and very briefly, those terms of reference include 6 objectives. The first is the effect of national supermarket chains moving into townships, peri-urban and rural areas, and what the effect of this move has had on small and independent retailers and the informal economy in those areas. The second is the effect of exclusive lease agreements in shopping malls and the impact that that has on other retailers that may potentially compete with the anchor tenants that have these exclusive lease agreements. The third is the impact of municipal and provincial regulation on small and independent retailers in the township, peri-urban areas and rural areas. The fourth is the impact of buyer groups and other large purchasers of fast-moving consumer goods on small and independent retailers. The fifth is the impact of certain value chains on the operations of small and independent retailers. This impact can only be assessed once we've been able as a panel to identify the particular value chains, which is dependent upon a survey, a small business survey that is presently being conducted, the results of which we expect in July this year. And finally, the inquiry is to probe the dynamics between foreign and South African operated small and independent retailers. Just to add here that the task team and members of the panel have engaged in fact-finding in many sites across the country in respect of that particular dynamic. Again, I think it's important to reiterate that these objectives are not findings of harm, nor may they be considered even as preliminary conclusions of the panel. That's these terms of reference, and they are starting points for our inquiry. To update you very briefly on what we've done, there have been general stakeholder engagements aimed at properly understanding the grocery retail sector in South Africa. There have been targeted consultations in the form of numerous site visits and revisits to stakeholders in townships, peri-urban and rural areas throughout the country. There have been calls for written submissions and the public hearings, which is what's to commence today. At this juncture, I can summarize the information gathering conduct of the inquiry into 4 phases. The first phase involved the collecting of literature and existing data. The second phase involved a 2-pronged consultative process, direct meetings with various stakeholders, including research institutions, consultants, universities, and all spheres of government, business organizations dedicated to small business development in townships. These consultations serve to provide the technical team and the panel with a working knowledge of the market. Secondly, the inquiry conducted countrywide visits. Members of the panel met with, amongst others, small and independent business owners in the informal market, government officials, suppliers, wholesalers, new market entrants, property developers and financiers, mainly in townships, in peri-urban and rural areas. In the third phase, the Commission has appointed 2 service providers to conduct 2 separate surveys targeted at consumers and small businesses. The consumer survey has been concluded and the results will be published on the inquiry's website in the coming weeks. The small business survey will be concluded in early June, so if I may correct myself earlier, not July, but June, in respect of the small business survey. The fourth phase, which is what brings everyone here today, is the public hearings. The hearings will allow the inquiry to give an opportunity to consumers, retailers of all sizes, and any other interested party to submit their views and experiences to the inquiry. This is the first of the hearings. The next hearings will be in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. The inquiry may also decide, the panel will also decide, whether to hold additional public hearings in other provinces, should the need arise. Just to govern the conduct of these public hearings, we are regulated by the Competition Act, which gives us various powers, and those powers are primarily to collect information, to evaluate information, and then to prepare a report with recommendations to the Commission. We, if any party believes information they wish to put to the panel and is confidential, then we have the power to close the meeting in order to hear confidential information. Any submission in respect of which a person submitting wants to claim confidentiality, then there's a process, and the technical team, task team, will assist anyone with that. The panel. Let me just also say that it's an offence to fail to answer questions fully and truthfully. It's also an offence to give false information, and it's an offence to disrupt or interrupt proceedings. I'm quite certain that no one here need concern themselves with the offences, but I do think it's important for the orderly conduct of this inquiry that I spell them out. So the topics that we wish to discuss today are really the impact of the entry of national supermarket chains into townships, peri-urban areas and rural areas, the impact of long-term exclusive lease agreements, and the impact of regulations, of municipal regulations and bylaws, and the impact of buyer groups and buyer power of purchasers of fast-moving consumer goods on competition in the grocery retail sector. The formal sitting of the inquiry will be open to the public, as I've said, unless I rule that part of the proceedings be closed on one or more of the following grounds. These are grounds contained in the Competition Act. If the information is confidential, if the proper conduct of the hearing requires it, and for any other reason that I consider to be justifiable. Upon making such a ruling, I will exclude the public as a whole, or specific persons or categories of persons from attending the meetings. All the sessions are recorded and streamed live, save for those sessions or parts of sessions that are closed. In order to allow the proper ventilation information, that I and my co-panelist, as well as the head of the inquiry's technical team, may pose questions to the person making oral submissions or any witness called by such a person. Questions may not be put by members of the public or representatives of parties to the persons making submissions. But should any stakeholder, any member of the public, any legal representative of a party wish to object or comment or question the submissions made, they may do so in writing and to the Commission. The details of the Commission, the email and other contact details are to be found on the website. And you may ask members of the technical team for that information. In fact, if you stand up, you'll probably be able to see the contact details on the screen below me. Tomorrow, those screens will be up so that everyone can see them. But I don't think I'm going to bore you with actually reading it all out and then repeating it so that you get it correct. During the available time, only one representative of a group or entity, either personally or through a legal representative, will be permitted to make oral submissions. So only one person will make the submissions on behalf of the other members. Other than witnesses the party may wish to call in support of their submissions. Where parties anticipate the different representatives will be needed to address different topics, appropriate arrangements should be made with the task team before and in advance, before the inquiry and in advance of the inquiry. Finally, the panel may conduct joint hearings in terms of which any number of persons may be combined as participants in the same proceedings if their respective submissions or responses seem to the panel to involve substantially the same question of law or facts. With that, closes off my brief introductory remarks, other than to say that the schedule for this afternoon has changed, in that the first group is JN Group. No? Okay. Which ones? Okay. It's the JN Group of companies, then followed by the Lakeside Liquor, and then followed by Gugulethu Liquor Traders. And the JN Group of companies, the submissions will be on Objective 5. And I wonder, sir, if you'd introduce yourself and who you represent.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Mr. Marcelino Tsulis. I am the founder of MJ Group of Companies. MJ Group of Companies. My reasons for oral submissions. I founded the company in 2016 and with a focus in the retail market, in the township. And the biggest challenge for township entrepreneurs, especially in the retail sector, is that the three major retail companies within South Africa, they have exclusive lease agreements with tenants, with mall owners, and this prevents us as small entities within the township of growing our business, firstly. Secondly is the bigger retail companies have bigger buying power in terms of financial resources, which us small entities we do not have. And this becomes a big challenge for us. Also, what I've seen over the last few years is that the three major companies is colluding with price fixing. You would find that at one shop you would pay 10 rand a bread, and the other shop you would pay 8 rand a bread. So what is the difference if they are in the same location? The difference is that one is maybe a bigger brand than the other one, and this prevents us small players from really entering the market and have a market share within that township. Also, we as small businesses, we do not have anywhere else to go. If the Competition Commission does not act against these bigger companies which have more financial resources than us small players, then it's no use for us small players being in business. The government has to create especially the Competition Commission has to create a policy where it says that township entrepreneurs, especially within the retail sector, needs to have more than 60% of that sector. Otherwise, it's not sustainable for small businesses to thrive in the retail sector. If you make up the market share which the three major players have, they have close to 96% of retail share within the country. How does small players compete with 96% of market share? My third and final question is, how do small retail owners compete with the 96% which bigger companies have within the retail sector? Certain policies and procedures needs to change within the Competition Act, especially when it comes to bigger companies. Similar thing happened within the banking sector, where the banking sector colluded with price fixing. And I believe that the Competition Commission has much powers to act against these bigger retail companies. They collude against price fixing. May I continue?
Please do.
Especially when it comes to Shoprite. Shoprite has, if you look at the township, every township in the country has 3 to 4 Shoprites. Within my township, we have within the 5-kilometer range, we have about 6 Shoprites. And how do small players compete against Shoprite if we do not have the resources to compete against Shoprite within our own location? And we want to make it clear that to the Competition Commission that we want to compete against other players within our sector. But how do we compete if they have much leverage over us in the same location that we grew up? And I don't think it's fair for this commission to allow bigger players to continue what they are doing. Thank you.
What township are you from, or in which township do you operate?
I operate within Guguletu.
In Guguletu?
Yes.
And you also mentioned that you think the big retailers are colluding on price.
Yes.
Is this by virtue of what you see or by virtue of what you know that there is some kind of collusion?
It's by virtue of what I see within the sector. For example, in Guguletu alone, we have 2 Shoprites, 2 to 3 Shoprites. And if you go to one Shoprite, you will find that the bread is $10.99. Plain example. If you go to, for example, if you go to Spa, then that same bread, but in the same location at Spa, it's maybe 12 rand. Then you ask yourself, we have 2 or 3 different shops within our space. How come the price of bread at one shop is a different price and at another shop it's a different price, but in the same environment?
I'm trying to understand the basis of your concern on that point. If they were not colluding, are you saying that the price would be the same?
Yes.
Why?
Why would I say that? It's because they are buying from the same manufacturer. All 3 major retail companies buy from the same manufacturer. For example, if I'm Shoprite and you are Pick n Pay, we are buying from the same manufacturer. They are buying from Blue Ribbon. Both of them are buying from Blue Ribbon and Tiger Brands. And both of them are selling the bread different prices. So I don't know if I make myself clear on that question. Can I?
Yeah.
For example, if I buy this water for 5 rand, the gentleman next to me buys the same water for 5 rand, comes into the location and sells it for markup price at least 6 rand by the same manufacturing company. The sir sells his water for 8 rand. I sell my water for 6 rand 50. What makes the difference between the two? We are buying it from the same company. Everything is the same. What makes it so different for this water to be sold at 8 rand?
Thank you, sir.
I just want to ask JM Group of Companies, just explain to me what the group is, what it's made of, what
I'm doing.
yeah.
Okay. MJ Group is founded into 3 sectors. Merely, we have a retail store within Guguletu. We supply consumables to government departments, like your basic office consumables, like your coffees, your teas, your stationery, and all that. Then we have another division within the company which is merely focused on social issues, social enterprise. It's a social enterprise where we speak regarding social issues within our society.
So you say you have one retail outlet. Is that one retail outlet?
Yes.
In where? Guguletu.
In Guguletu, yes.
In the beginning, when you gave us an overview of your concerns in the sector, you, for example, or gave an example of exclusive lease agreements and the fact that that inhibits the businesses in township areas to grow. Can you give us specific examples, let's say for example with regards to your store, where you have tried to enter into a mall or a shopping mall, but where you were unable to do so? If you can give us an overview of an instance like that.
Thank you. I've tried to enter at Charleston Mall in Montana.
Repeat that slowly so that we can write it down.
Okay. I've tried to enter into a lease agreement at Charleston Mall, which is located between Fala Park and the entrance of Gugulethu. And the agent specifically said to me that Shoprite is our major tenant, and for you to have the same business to compete with Shoprite, it's not possible, because Shoprite is the major tenant at that particular mall. And I asked him the question, I am a small player, you cannot compare myself with Shoprite. Shoprite has much resources, much infrastructure, which I have. And I won't compete with them because I don't have the muscle to compete with them. I will only sell the basics, which is after hours, from Shoprite. Shoprite closes at 5 o'clock. My store will close at 9 o'clock when the mall closes. So what competition, how do you compare myself competing with Shoprite, which I don't have the infrastructure or the muscle for it?
You. When did you approach the agent?
I approached him in February this year.
And am I to assume that the agents basically turned you down?
Yes.
I just want you to expand a little bit more. You said your MJ Group is also in retail. What exactly does your retail business sell? What do you focus on?
Okay. Primarily, we are focusing on our core business. Prior to the shop that we have, our core business is supplying office consumables, like your coffees, your teas, your stationeries, to mere corporate companies, government departments, schools, but primarily entering the schools, we will enter with the government procurement and so on.
And on the retail side?
On the retail side, we sell bread, your basic food items that you will need on a daily basis, like a bread, sugar, coffee, tea, your basic stuff that you will need on a daily basis.
So then in this supermarket that you, or the shopping mall that you wanted to enter, you said that in order to compete with Checkers, you would have differentiated yourself in a certain way. You mentioned products, that you would only sell certain basic products. Which products would that be?
Like your coffee, tea, sugar, milk, flour, your basic, like your daily basics that you will need on a daily basis, cool drinks, water, cigarettes, and all that.
Okay, and then you also mentioned that the other way in which you would have been able to compete with them was based on your trading hours. And you indicated that you would have been open until 9 o'clock at night. What would your business have done during the day? Would you have been open? What would your operating hours have been like exactly?
Our operating hours would be from Shoprite opens at 8 o'clock. All the Shoprites opens at 8 o'clock. It varies from location to location. And our operating hours would be from 7:30 or from 7 o'clock in the morning, where people go to work, where children go to school, to supply those basic things that you as a mom would need to go for bread, and while Shoprite is still closed at that time. So it's merely early hours of the morning.
Only in the morning, in the evenings as well, or no?
In the evenings we would open 7 o'clock or 6:30 in the morning, but we will then trade all day until 9 o'clock at night. It will give us much in the morning peak, where people go to work, buy their basic things, and at night when Shoprite closes, we are still open to fill that gap.
Thank you. And then the size of the shopping mall that you wanted to enter, how big was the mall more or less?
More or less the mall was about 300 square meters, and Shoprite occupies about 150 to 180 square meters.
And what are the other shops in that mall? Well, more just a brief overview of what other shops there are.
One shop, most of the shops there in that particular mall is merely pharmacist, your Chinese shop that you will sell your basic clothing, Shoprite, KFC closed. Some of the most important, like your eating places, closed down at that particular shop. So it's merely your Chinese shops and your doctors and post office that is currently there.
Okay, thank you.
Just one last question from me. So when you were not able to enter that mall, you then was that your first retail store that you wanted to open? And then where did you go? And where are you located exactly in Koblentu now?
Okay.
And also just speak a bit more as to what is the concern then for you? Why would it be so important for you to have been on that, to operate at that mall and not where you are now? What is the key difference for you? What is the issue? What are your concerns in not being able to operate in that mall?
Thank you, Mrs. Coache. The reason why I decided to look at that mall as a first option, I felt it was close to my home where I'm staying. I wanted to serve that particular community between Charlesville and Montana. The mall is located in Charlesville, but it's a walking distance to Montana, walking distance to Guguletu. And currently I'm based in Ures, which is a location within Guguletu, and in that location it's not so much safe. Why I wanted to enter in that particular mall, it's because of the security. It's much safer for people to shop at that particular mall because my church is also there in that particular mall, and I would serve my church community also in that particular mall. So I have very close links with those two areas. That is why I wanted to serve. That is why I wanted to enter in that particular mall.
So where you are now, how are you disadvantaged? With not being able, I understand things that you've been politics in operating at the moment. So what are your key concerns where you are now?
Currently, my key concerns is the trading hours of operation. It is not safe to trade till 9 o'clock at night. Period. It's not safe. And that's the first answer to your question. And also, if I wanted to negotiate with bigger manufacturing companies to come and deliver directly to the shop, it will also be a disadvantage for them to send their trucks there because of the high rate of robberies that is in that particular area.
But you do currently have a shop that's now not in the mall, if I understand it correctly. And you've spoken about safety. Are there differences in profitability of having a shop outside the mall and inside the mall?
Okay, there's a big difference between having a shop within the mall and having a shop without the mall. Within the mall, there's a big difference in terms of safety and security. Having the shop outside would be a lack of safety. It would be a lack of trading hours because of, if you look at the demographics of the environment, you will find that the most of the robberies that occurs within Guguletu area is located within Newres. So that is a big disadvantage for me. That is why I am, even up until now, I'm still negotiating with the new owners of the mall because the old owners sold the mall to new owners. So there would be a much greater impact in terms of revenue stream within my business if the shop would be located within the mall.
How far is your shop now that's outside of the mall? How far is that from the mall?
It's about 20 minutes walk, 20 to 30 minutes walk from the mall.
And how many other retailers, big ones and small ones, are around you, let's say within a 2 to 3 kilometer radius?
I would say 2 streets away from where my shop is. So every 2 streets there would be a shop there. And also another challenge would be the foreign shops that is currently dominating within the location. You'll find that bigger players enter the location, but you also find that foreign shops, like they pay not a risk in terms of but in terms of competition, they have much bigger power because they are coming together, which where you as a citizen of the country, you don't have that power to go directly to to manufacturers and say that manufacturers, look, come and send your truck here. I'm ordering 500,000 rands of goods from you. We don't have that power because of there's much barriers within the surroundings of the township. So you will find that the bigger retailers entering the township, you will find that the foreign traders also enter the township, but with bigger market share. Because if they have bigger market share, they can get their goods cheaper at manufacturing price, which we don't have that power to negotiate with suppliers and manufacturers.
Then in terms of how do you currently get your supplies?
Currently, I'm getting my supplies from wholesalers, from like your Jumbo cash and carry or Giant cash and carry. That is, it costs me much more than to go to them and pick my stuff up, and then for me to negotiate for them to send a truck to deliver my stuff.
For how long have you operated the retail store that you currently have?
It's been 1 year and 8 months.
Was this before or after the shop right in the mall close to you where you wanted to open up? Is this before that mall opened or after?
After.
Then I think maybe from my side, we haven't spoken a lot about the problems, your bargaining problems with bargaining power. So you've indicated that you currently get most of your supplies from wholesalers and cash and carries. How, maybe just take us through the process. How often do you buy? Do you get it on credit? What are the
terms of reference?
Yeah, the terms of trading. Yes.
Okay. My terms of trading currently it's COD, cash on delivery. So in that instance, cash is king. When you go to wholesalers doesn't trade with you as one person. They trade with maybe 5 to 6 people before they give you on credit. So there's a disadvantage there. If there's no cash, if there's no markup, you cannot buy stock to retain for the business to continue its operations.
Okay, and then I think one last question from my side. You've indicated how other players in your area have a bigger market share and are therefore able to negotiate better prices. Have you considered various other ways in which you can, for example, grow or work with others to also negotiate better prices? Maybe if you could take us through the various ways in which you've tried to address that.
Currently, certain retailers in the market, they try to help small retailers by offering them credit, like your 30-day credit terms, and the interest on that credit, it's between 6 to 9%, which is not sustainable for you as a small company, a small retailer. Because if you buy, for example, if you buy 20,000 rands of goods or whatever you buy, you still need to pay 6% interest on that 20,000 rand. So it's not sustainable. Even if your markup is between 1.5% and 3%, it's not sustainable for you to be within the sector. So you need to really really find alternative solutions. That is why I've looked at, I've created, and me and one other guy, we have created an online platform where it's merely for office use, where you as an office owner can buy online so that it can streamline our income. We work in various ways to stimulate ourselves.
And then you mentioned earlier that, you've mentioned the large supermarkets that has an impact on your business and also foreign operated supermarkets. Which one of the two do you think has the most significant impact on your business?
Currently, I would say it's a 50-50 between foreign shop owners and bigger retail companies within the township. Because 50% of foreign shops, they buy with bulk quantity. So there's already a disadvantage in terms of you going alone to supply or manufacturer. Secondly, it's that in terms of the retail companies, I would say it's a 50-50. And how do you ensure that you get at least 1% of the cake from that environment?
I think right in the beginning you mentioned some recommendations or views with regards to what the Commission should do, and you mentioned some market shares. Apart from that, what are the factors that would assist you in becoming more competitive? So in other words, apart from saying a certain player is only allowed to have a certain market share, what are the other things that would assist you in becoming more competitive and growing and outperforming these other players that are making things difficult for you?
Firstly, I would say prior to setting aside 30% of the bigger companies having to entering townships would be at, for example, 30%. 30% of that particular township would then be, how do you divide 30% of that particular township buying to bigger retail companies? And how do you ensure that 70% goes locally, supporting the ordinary retail guy?
I think my question is rather one without having to divide and say, what would make you more competitive, so that in the end, without any artificial changes to the market, that you are able to outperform your competitors?
I would say, for me, having bigger, for me to have a sustainable credit line with my suppliers, that will ensure that I will sell goods at more, for example, increasing my markup to more sustainable, so that I can be able to grow from where I'm at now and be able to grow much faster than I should. So I would say, as local entrepreneurs within the retail sector, for the financial partners to come on board. So how do we ensure that a financial institute that's a local retail guy? Because sometimes these financial institutes don't even want to look at your application. So, in conclusion, I would say the biggest obstacle to growing faster, it would be the financial backing of financial institute, so that you can be able to have bigger market share of that particular market. Because without the financial backing of financial institutions or support institutions, it would be really impossible for a local entrepreneur to grow faster. Because if there's resources, you would be able to grow faster and return your investment much faster.
Can you explain why you don't organise with other retailers, independent small retailers in the township, to form buyer groups, so that you can buy the type of quantities that your competitors are able to buy? Well, what the difficulties are there?
Firstly, the difficulties that we struggle to form buying groups within the townships. Firstly, it's trust. If I don't trust you, I will not work with you. It's trust. And for any organization to function 98%, there have to be trust. So the trust between the locals, it's broken. Also, I would say trust. The skills, ability within the sector. So within the sector, we are lacking the necessary skills to transform our own sector. Because if we don't have the skills, the trust and the financial backing, it is really impossible for us to form buying groups and go together and say, Coca-Cola, here we are, or Blue Ribbon, or whatever institute you are, here we are as a local buying group, and we want to do business with you. So that is the three obstacles that we as locals are struggling. And how do we overcome that struggling? It is where we build a mutual trust between us, firstly. Secondly is education. Because if we are not educated within the sector or within the workspace or whatever field you are, you won't be able to do your utmost best to function within that particular job or whatever you can have.
On the point that you make on not being able to buy as a group, are there no buyer groups that you could buy from that support small businesses like yourselves? And because we understand that there are such buyer groups that would support smaller businesses and also provide some kind of skills and upskilling and give you some of the things that you mentioned as aspects that you would like to improve amongst yourselves.
Recently, I've tried to contact the retail and wholesale sector to provide me with the guidelines of how do we form a buying group? Because with every sector there's a sector that gives you the guidelines of how you can form A, B, and C. And up until today, I have not received any correspondence from them. I have tried, and I'm not giving up. That's one thing that I will not lie down. It's because I want to see my own life and others that I can contribute towards the transformation. I want to see that transformation, but how can I see the transformation if institutes that they were put in place and refuse to listen to us? So it is not that I haven't done my homework. I have done my homework, but it's just that the institutes that we are speaking to does not hear or listen to us.
Let me just go back to my question. My understanding is that within the grocery retail sector, you have the suppliers, and then there are also buyer groups that are sort of middlemen between suppliers and retailers, from which smaller retailers like yourselves could buy from. Even if you don't establish or form a buying group yourselves, or with your friends or with your other retailers in the area, you could actually go as an individual and make your purchases from these buyer groups, which have direct access to suppliers. So what I'm asking you is, are you not aware of any of these buyer groups in the area or around you?
Currently, no. I have not heard any entrepreneur that speaks about buying groups here within the Western Cape. So Western Cape is fairly behind in terms of buying groups.
Thank you.
Could I just have the name of that CETA?
The wholesale and retail sector.
One last question from my side. The types of skills that you were referring to in the education that you said that we need, what kind of specific skills and specific types of education are you referring to?
I was speaking about customer service. Within the retail sector, you have different categories. I'm personally coming from a warehouse. I have a warehouse background. So you in the warehouse you would have your quality controllers, your stock controllers, your high-step drivers, your fleet managers. You would have your different fields, but within the location you would find that negotiation skills. Me negotiating with you as an institute, there we lack. How do we ensure that we bridge that gap between you have the ability to pose questions to me, but you also have the ability to answer the question. So yeah.
Mr. Julius, I want to thank you and thank your colleagues for the frank way in which you've answered questions and assist us in getting a sense of the kinds of difficulties that small independent retailers face in the townships. Thank you. We are going to have a short break, and then we'll resume with the next submission, which is Lakeside. Is that right? Gugulethu. Sorry, it could be Gugulethu. No. Liquor Traders. Gugulethu Liquor Traders. So if we'll break for 5 minutes. and we'll reassemble them. Okay, should we commence? We now have submissions from the Gugulethu liquor traders, and we have here the deputy chairperson of Gugulethu liquor traders, Mr. Lefa Mapilo. Is that right, Mr. Mapilo? Won't you either take the microphone or I think we just move the microphone towards you. I think it can move. I think this. Yep. All right. There's a big button. There's a big button at the bottom there with a nose and a face, and then you can see the noise coming out of it. So you press that when you speak, and then you press it again. Yes. You must switch it off now, though.
They always say 1, 2, 3. Okay.
So, Peter, why don't you switch it off now? Because I'm. So what happens is this thing is not very intelligent. It only works for one speaker at a time. And I'm still introducing you. And you have Mr. Alex Silela, is that right? And then is it Baba Metlo? And you, Mr. Metlo, want to supplement some submissions that Mr. Mapilo might leave out. Is that right? Okay, so Mr. Mapilo, you have the floor, which means press that big button.
Oh. Thanks, Mr. Chair. I don't know whether you call it chair or, but anyway, thanks to you. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Lefa Mapilo. I'm the deputy chair of Gugulethu Liquor Traders Association, which is based in Gugulethu. Thanks for the invite, and it's the first time for us to be in this forum of Competition Commission. We've read about it, but we don't know much about it. But anyway, hence we were invited here. The reason we are having we are licensed liquor traders. I've been 23 years in the business, 17 years licensed. But there are some challenges that we are having. Most of the challenges is the big business in our townships and the bylaws of the city of Cape Town. So those are the main things that are hindering our businesses and our growth in our businesses. Number one, I was born in Simonstown. During the Group Areas Act, we were thrown to Gugulethu, or in Gugulethu, whatever. So in those matchbox houses. And when I got into the business, I traded informally, and then after that, I applied for a license, which I was granted. And then now, hence the arrival of the big businesses in the township, then my business started to have some little problems. There was a lot of financial strain on my business. Well, I mean, when I'm talking about my business, I'm talking about Gugulethu business traders. But it's unfortunate, I always say maybe I, but when I say I, you must know that I mean plurally. So we are suffering because when those businesses arrived, there was a lot of resistance. But you know, when there's a resistance and then you tell people about jobs, definitely people need jobs. So of course we had to allow the malls into our townships because people wanted jobs. But now what happened with this jobs thing, when these ShopRites and your spas come to our township, in my industry, which is liquor, they come because if you get ShopRite as the main tenant, he will come with tops. If you bring a spa will come also with spa liquor or the tops or whichever, just like Pick n Pay. And the unfortunate thing about these things, when we applied for our licenses, we had to submit our plans, and they had to come to our places to take pictures, like the lawyers will come and take pictures of and they will tell me exactly, you must have toilets there, you must have this and this. But when these guys come, when they build when they build these malls, they come with their licenses and everything. And the worst thing, my license is a liquor, mine is an off sales. The liquor board, when it gave me the license, it said I must trade from 8 until 8, and then 8 until 5 on Saturdays. No trading on Sundays. So what happened? When these guys came, and then they were given options to apply for a Sunday trading, which I did. I applied for a Sunday trading. The city never replied for 4 years after I've applied for that. And then came ShopRite and Tops. The guys traded and they got licenses. They even got Sunday trading in our township. Gugulethu is plus minus about, what's the population of Gugulethu? Plus minus 300, but I'm subject to correction. About 300 to 400,000 people. But I'm telling you, from the township, Sunday trading, I'm sure there's only 1 or 2 people who got Sunday trading licenses on a Sunday in Gugulethu. But ShopRite, who came yesterday, I'm 23 years in the business. ShopRite, I'm sure there are only about 8 or 10 years in Gugulethu. They are trading, and they are trading even on Sundays. And ever since they came to our townships, we started having problems with the law enforcement. Because what we see is happening now, because unfortunately, because some when you look at these things, you see that this is more than a political fight, more than a business fight. Because what they are trying to do now, they are trying to take away our licenses, so that these ShopRite guys can, these big guys can operate in our townships. So they are clamping us down with the trading hours. They are clamping us down with fines. And there's a lot that is happening in our businesses. And we feel that we are treated differently. Whereas we are the inhabitants of Gugulethu. But if you find out, the ShopRites are given preference by the city of Cape Town, and the people who are suffering is us in the township. And what you must also understand is that we are from a working community. I mean, everybody knows that. We work in towns and whatever. And our business during the day, they suffer because there are no people. People are at work. People come back at about 5 or 6. And now they've come with something new now. They say we must close our businesses at 6. How will you ever make business when you are servicing a working community that is at work the whole day, and they come home at about 5 or 6, and then they say you must close at 6? And secondly, where our people work, they work in towns where there's a ShopRite, there's a Pick n Pay. So if one goes there to buy his bottle or his 6-pack, there's no need of that person coming to me. And what you must also understand, I'm a father, that I must look after my family. I'm an employer, I'm a taxpayer, and at the end of the day, I also do some social investments in the township, like where I do donations and whatever. How do you expect us to make money if you are killing us? Thabo Mbeki once said, you must wake up and do it for yourself, like Vuka Uzenzel. And we are doing it now. And now this is what is happening to us. And we're talking about radical economic transformation. So where does this put us? When, especially in our own townships, this is what we get. I mean, we're not politicians, we are business people. But you find that the treatment that the big companies get is much better, and they are trading in our own townships. They threw us because when they threw us in Gugulethu, they were dumping us in Gugulethu. Now we are trying to make our lives better in our own townships, and they are invading our space. I mean, which is very unfair. So I don't know how far the commission can help in this regard, because competing with these guys, I mean, we are competing with billionaires here. And they are using the best lawyers you can get. So I don't know, because when your guys came to us, I said to them, well, I hear about competition commission, but do you really have teeth? I mean, I asked them, you can ask them. Because it's pointless of us sitting here and then you take notes, and then nothing happens. Because what we want to do, we want to be treated fairly and be treated as business people. There is no way that I was born in Cape Town, grew up in Guguletu, I applied for a license because I wanted to be a legal business person. And after that, I paid for an additional Sunday trading. And you know, the way the city operates now, it's like there's a project. There's a project that we must kill. We must kill these sheep and these taverns gradually. We'll hit Network and then we'll go to Soilendown. And then we take one from Kailicha. Because by the time we wake up, nobody will have a DMS because they are taking people's licenses. Because I said, because there was an officer from, there was an inspector from the liquor board. I said, guys, what you are doing to us is very unfair. Because what you should be doing, you must involve us. You just come here and impose. Because whenever you come to us, you impose. You do this, you fine, you do that. I mean, you can't work with people like that. And they do things that they don't do with the other guys. I mean, with the big guys. Because it's not about we are having problems with, but it's the way that they treat us in our own township. We went last year, we wrote to the city, we even went to a march, we spoke to Del Plato, we gave him a memorandum. He hasn't replied. He gave us, how many days did he give us? Yeah, you see, yeah, he never replied up until this day. So I think those are the thorny issues that are affecting our businesses. Because I've been a small business for the 23 years I've been a small business. When am I going to go to the next level? I mean, it's really unfair. I mean, you go to your prices. I mean, these guys are billionaires, as I'm saying to you. I mean, they do bulk buying. I mean, if you use one account number to buy 400 stores, how much discount do you get? So that is, I mean, those are the things that I actually wanted to address with you, more especially, like take for it, you can say whatever. There's a culture. I mean, okay, I might call it a culture. You know, when you drink, there are people in our culture. Some people you can't drink alone. And the nice guys about these guys, these Helen Zil and Dilly, they've got bars in their own homes, so they don't need to go out. And ours, we socialize. We need to go to taverns. We need to watch soccer together. We drink together. So we are those, because I'm sure that's where you get this term, your Ubuntu, because we like to be amongst people. So, and we've got a culture. As I'm saying to you, to us it's like a culture. There's no way that you can watch soccer alone at home and drink. No, but it's nice when yeah. I mean, so the Western Cape government is depriving us of our humanity. So I think those are my most concerns, because like take for instance, some of us, I'm a matriculant from Fezeka High School. My granny used to sell beer. Today I'm a matriculant, I'm a business person out of that little business. And now you get the city, what the city is doing, they are clamping even, because some people are selling this thing, are selling liquor just for the pot, just to cook and buy electricity. Because you know there's a problem, because our sisters and whatever, they make babies and they leave them with the old ladies. So to make a living, they sell bread, they sell eggs, they sell a beer, then. And then when the city comes, they come and clamp those people down. And now we are saying to them, I said to them, listen, we had a problem here with fees must fall. I said, what we need to do, people, I said to them, you give people licenses. I don't say people must trade recklessly. Give people licenses. And then if a person can't doesn't qualify. You use your own criteria, it doesn't have to come to us. Or you give people payments so that people can be taxed. That's where we can get revenue for the country. And then that revenue will work whether in hospitals or in schools. Because we don't say, we're not saying, we say legalize us and tax us. But that mustn't be done recklessly. So we're not saying people, sorry, like take for instance, I always make an example. You know, there's a problem, you know, when something happens, if somebody is caught drunk somewhere or something happens or a car overturns, instead of blaming the person, you blame the shibina or the shibin. Whether that person bought that liquor from ShopRite in town and he drank it wherever and then he got in an accident, they will say, you see, this liquor. Because when something happens where liquor is related, it is not, it is, you don't focus on the problem. You just generalize. You know, these shibis need to be closed down. They say there's a problem with meat, red meat is not good, but you never close butcheries. You attend to the person who's sick with that sickness. You understand? And I'm sorry about this one. The government is giving condoms freely. Somebody is contracting HIV or whatever, making a baby. At the end of the day, you don't blame the person. You blame social services. Social services must give grant to this person, but it is irresponsibility of that person, because here is a free condom. It's either you use it or you don't. But you make it somebody else's problem. You don't face the problem. You see? So those are my concerns. So I think it's a constitutional matter, political matter, but something is just not right. But the thing is, we don't have a voice, because the people that we are challenging, I mean, it's government, it's your ShopRite, it's your Pick n Pay, it's your Raymond Ackerman. I mean, who am I to challenge those people? I mean, they are using your best lawyers in town. So what I'm trying to bring here, this is not about me, but this is about the industry itself in our townships, because we are being targeted. I mean, this is 23 years. I mean, out of the, I mean, in our new dispensation, at least there should be some changes. Because what you must also understand, we've employed people in our businesses. Yeah, we are feeding families. So I think from my side, unless Papa wants to add some few points, but I think that's what I wanted to present to you today. Thank you.
Mr. Mishlo?
Well, actually, what he's trying to say, he said there's a tendency most here in the Western Cape. You know, when you talk a lot, they will come and give you fines, fire extinguisher, and then at the end of the day, because now they're trying to use this demerit system. Each and every time they come to your place, your fire extinguisher is expired, they write. No, you know what? They do those apartheid tactics, you know, to take you out. This one is troublesome. Let's monitor him, and then they take your license. So that's what the old man is trying to bring here. Thank you.
So is it saying that when you are vocal against what is happening, you get targeted in that kind of way? Thank you.
Good afternoon. In the beginning, you said that you represent a number of traders, not only yourself. Can you maybe elaborate on that? How many are you that you are representing, and where are you operating?
Ma'am, yes. The thing is, no, to answer your question, as I said to you, I'm from Gugulethu Liquor Traders Association. It's a new association. registered, our name has been approved by CPICC, but we're just waiting on our documentation. So what we've said as liquor traders, because seeing what is happening now in the industry. So what we are mobilizing, Kailicha is also has got its own structure. Michel's Plain has got its own structure. Philippi, Nyanga, Pal. So we are trying to have associations everywhere, and then we'll have an umbrella body. That is the umbrella body that is going to talk to the. Because the thing is, you won't listen to me as an individual, and as much as you won't listen to Kukuletu as because if you talk if you talk Western Cape is too broad. So we are trying to form a bigger structure, which is because our grievances are uniform. Because what you get in Kukuletu, you'll get in Michel's Plain. What you get in Michel's Plain, you'll be getting in Park, Mossel Bay, and wherever.
Let me put it this way, how many members have you got?
In Kukuletu, we are 45 licensed.
And are they all off sales?
Come again? No.
Both?
Yeah, both,
Off-sales.
yeah.
Do you have any idea of the numbers of in Nyanga and Kailicha?
No, I won't hear that.
Have they also established a similar
Yeah,
association?
because we meet regularly. We are trying to mobilize as much as we can.
And so with your members, and you have indicated that the issues are uniform across various areas. So some of the issues that you've mentioned, the challenges that you're facing, are uniform across a number of liquor traders. The permits, the licenses that are given to you, do you know whether they are all similar or uniform, or are they different for different traders?
No, they are different. Because like an off-call, like mine, off-call where you buy and go off, they call it an off-call, which is a liquor store. And then you've got on-call, like tavernas, where they trade 11, some are 2, some are 4 a.m. Yeah. But mine, to show that there's a problem here, in my license, I got my license in 2002, if not 2000. My license says I must trade 8 until 8. But the radio says I must trade from 8 until 6. So, and that is the problem, because now there's a problem with the city and the liquor board. So now that is affecting us, because when the city guys come, they say, no, you're straight. I said, no, the license that I got, because I've got this piece of paper, which I got from the liquor authority. They said to me 8 until 8. That is in my file and that is in my shop. And then when I say I'm not going to close, I'm going to come unless I'm going to take it to court. And they say no, but no, we'll come back to you. But they go they are also not sure what is happening. But let them solve their problems. They mustn't make their problems our problems. They must get their office right. I'm saying to you now on record, I applied for a liquor license for a Sunday trading. And that thing stayed there with them for 4 years without them replying. Whenever you inquire, they'll say, this one is off sick, that one is resigned, the chairperson. So it was, there was a lot that was happening in the liquor board. And I was doing the honorable thing of doing things right. And then you get frustrated by the office. So what does one do?
Could I?
And so sorry, just on that point. And when the reason I'm saying 4 years, and then there was Imbizo, Liquor Imbizo, and then I happened to meet it was Ellen Winder, the what's called the minister. And then I went to him, and then I told him about the case. But funny enough, he knew about it. And then he asked me, "Have you to receive it?" I said, "No, I didn't." And then after that, what happened? We were invited to the police station by our DPO there. all the license guys, and then I said, yeah, but me, my license is still staying, is still there. And then the DPO said to me, no, it's been declined. That is after I've spoken to Ellen Winton. So that's why I'm saying, once you start to being vocal, they clamp you down. Because they never answered me. They said, then I went to the liquor board, I asked them, why did you decline it? They said, no, there's an English word that they use, circumstantial, what. And I had to pay 40 or 70 rands for the information, which I never got up until today.
Who did you pay 40 to 70 rand
At the liquor board.
for just for the information that
For
was
the
provided?
information, yeah. For the information. Fortunately, I've got a lawyer. I mean, I can refer you to my lawyer, but I went there personally. Because they said, because when I asked why did you decline so that I can appeal? They said, no, it's circumstantial, something. And then I said, but I need the information. They said, I must go and pay. I paid. I said, 40 or 70 rands. So what I'm trying to say here, I mean, we are being targeted. I don't know whether it's because we are from the township, or maybe we don't understand, or maybe we are not united in the trade, or whatever, but something is just not right. And we'll see, more and more shop rights, because they also, I think there's a Pick n Pay that is also coming, because I can see on the local newspapers, they are applying for a liquor store there as well. And now, with the guys who've been having licenses like me, but I never had that problem. Like these other guys, like I'm saying, the association is becoming bigger and bigger. They are getting notices now that they must get rezoning. Rezoning because there's a church that has been built after they've been there. Like me, I've been licensed, as I'm saying to you, 17 years licensed. And then 10 years ago, they built a church in front of me, or maybe 100 or 500 meters from my house. And now they say I must get rezoning because there's a church. And I was there before the church. But now because there's a church, so I must go and rezoning. I was granted license. I do have a license, but now they're talking to you about rezoning. And they tell you, no, you can't trade in this house because it's a residential area. But this is a piece of land that I was thrown to from Simonstown. And this is the only space that I've got. So I'm trying to utilize my space. There are no jobs. I'm trying to make a living. And now they tell me, no, you can't trade because of this X, Y, and Z. You must get rezoning. That can't be my problem. That can't be my problem. For me to be given that little piece of space or a house, and now trying to make a better life for me, my family, and my community, and then they come and tell me, no, I can't be trading here. And they don't give me a job or an option after that. I mean, that is unfair. And our crime statistics will keep on going up because of the people in high offices. They clamp us down, but they don't give us alternatives. And when they close me down, it's not only me. It's me and my family and my staff's family. Everybody's affected.
Just in relation to the 8 to 6 hours, does that apply equally to ShopRite Checkers in Gugulethu?
I think so, but I'm not sure. But what I know, the trade on Sunday.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. Okay. I might not be sure of their trading hours, but the only thing that I know that they trade on Sunday. And I think it's 9 to 6, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they are saying in this new act that they are bringing. I think it's 9 to 6 or 8 to 6. But I'm not complying because I've got 8 to 8 on my legal document.
In terms of the application that you made to trade on Sundays and also the request to apply for rezoning that you've also mentioned now, how much does it cost to apply for that?
When I applied for my Sunday trading, I think it's more than 10 years ago. It was about 4,500. And I met because they wanted a letter from the street committee, from the councillor, and a petition from my neighbors. I supplied everything. So seemingly this Sunday trading is for ShopRite, not for us in the township. It's not meant for us, it's meant for them.
When did the mall in which ShopRite is trading in, when did that mall open in your township?
In Guguletu, I think about 8 or 10 years, I'm sure.
And you've mentioned that jobs were created when the mall opened up. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I can elaborate on that because what actually happened, number one, where Guguletu Mall is standing, there used to be a service station there. It used to belong to another old man from Guguletu. And there were shops around that shopping mall. So there was a big fight because the small people were complaining, if this thing is going to happen, this is going to take our business away. And this is exactly what happened. But now, what you do, because big business must have got a way of coming to us. Yeah, people with the muscle must have always got a way. It must always be their way. There's this thing of brown envelopes. Yeah, so when those things happen, because one will mobilize for yes and the other one will mobilize for no. But once you start saying to people, it's like when you're talking to somebody who's hungry, you talk about food. That person will talk a different language. And when you talk to people, you talk sense, but you talk about jobs, and people are not working. Definitely will be fighting a losing battle. So we'll be fighting a losing battle. As much as we are saying we don't have a problem with them and the jobs, but at least they need to consider the people who are running businesses around that complex.
Would you say in your experience of having been in Guguletu for so long, was there jobs created by that mall and by the opening of those shops?
Yes, they were, just like us. But as much there were jobs that they created, but there were jobs also that were lost from the businesses around. Like as I'm just saying to you now, there was an old man who was running a service station there. So those people are all gone.
If you had to give a very rough estimate, how many businesses do you think closed down as a result of that mall opening?
Maybe Mr. Peter, I might not have the actual figures, but what I know there are a lot of them. And I think there was a forum of those people. I'm sure they might have they might have the stats of what you are asking about. Yeah. They are relevant. There are older people who used to own shops and everything that are still alive. Because some of them lost their homes, they lost their cars, they lost everything, even their health as well, because of what happened.
Then, in terms of your ability to compete with the liquor stores in the malls, you've talked a lot about regulations and how it looks like they are not enforced uniformly. But when we talk about price of liquor, are you able to compete on the prices of the liquor that you sell?
The problem is not about price. We're not complaining about prices, or maybe maybe we want funding or something. What we want to happen is for us to be treated fairly, treated as business people as well. Are you still with me, ma'am? Oh, okay. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is the problem here. We didn't come for. We are not asking for we don't say that people, those people, those businesses are, because they are already there and they've created some employment. But what we are challenging is the way the city does things. Because seemingly now they treat them differently to us, whereas they found us here. So, but pricing is another problem. Because as I mentioned earlier on, there is no way that I can I buy 10 cases of beer. Those guys with my one account number, I buy 10 cases of beer. And I'm talking about somebody who buys 100,000 of cases of beer. So, I mean that says it all. Because ShopRite, Pick n Pay has got a distribution point. In business, what we use account numbers. So if we want to do bulk buying, if all of us want to do bulk buying, if we're going to target Smirnoff, we'll say to you, okay, for this Smirnoff, let's use your account so that we can get that discount. We can't use mine, yours, and then we combine all the licenses, and then we must use one. So those guys have got distribution points where they buy, where they put in 100 million just to buy Smirnoff. And that Smirnoff goes where? To their distribution point. From the distribution point, it goes to their shops. And we don't have that capacity. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to answer your question, but just to bring some logic so that you understand, so that we are on the same playing field here. Yeah.
I just want to understand, you mentioned 3 sets of letters that were required, that are required from township operators that are not paid players to submit when you apply for licenses or permits. What exactly must the neighbors or community say in those letters?
No, I don't think it's not something that is bad. I mean, if I'm going to open a license, like take for instance, like a firearm application. If you want to apply for a firearm, the police will come to the neighbors and ask about you. Just like if you want to open a business, you must get what they call a consent from your neighbors, from your street, from your councillor. Yes, so that, because at the end of the day, because whatever happens, the first people who will feel the pinch is your immediate neighbors. So what I was trying to say to you, those things were submitted, and each and every person who has got a liquor license in the township, I don't know how ShopRite get theirs. What I know, each and every one of us went the same route that I went through. Consent from neighbors, consent from the street committee, consent from your ward council.
Thank you.
I think to add on to that, has anyone ever approached you to consult with you to get approval from you to trade on Sundays, for example? Has the municipality or the authorities ever approached you and consulted with you when someone else wanted to extend their trading hours to Sundays? Never. Perhaps just a final question from my side. Let's say, for example, in the last 5 years, how often has the municipality come to clamp down on your business specifically, or on the businesses of those in your street, for example?
I think if you listen to me carefully, I said to you, I think the city is, they are treating us like we are a project. So I'm sure they say to themselves, listen, in the Western Cape, or in Gugulethu, let's say in the Cape Peninsula, we've got 400 licenses. So what we need by November, we must have 350. That's what they are doing. So that I'm sure this says it all. They were there at my place 2 weeks ago, and the other day we were in a meeting. They came. They actually bring a fine. Today, before we came here, me and you, before we came here, we came there. Just an inspection. Then I had to sign. But this is the kind of treatment that I'm talking about. If you can ask ShopRite or Spar, how many times have these people been there? I'm sure they only go there when there's a shoplifting, when somebody's been arrested, put in the store. Yeah, I'm sure that's the only time they see police there. But with us, they are always there. You know, sometimes, you know, in our case, you know, sometimes when you put too much laws, it's so easy to break them because you are putting too much pressure for people to make mistakes. And what you must also understand, to apply, to have a license is an effort, and that goes with responsibility. For one to take the initiative of saying, okay, now I want to make my business formal. That comes with a conscience, and that comes with responsibility. I think the government should, number one, take it from there. But this person means serious business. Because there are more unlicensed sheepins in all our townships, the nationwide. And they are causing it. They are causing it. Because at the end of the day, should they take my license or whoever's license, we must make means that we support our families. Because if they clamp us down, we are going to do it illegally. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. God, it's wise you keep what you've got and then you take from us. Because I always say to them, the problem with you, you take decisions without involving us. And we are not kids. We are not in the upper where we come and impose and say, hey, Kafras, I can't. No, gone are those days. You call us in, say, listen, this is the problem. Because there's this harms thing that they are talking about, the harms, the futile, something. Yeah. So they say most this thing is coming from the harms, the pregnant mothers, the babies and whatever. Yeah. So they are coming from that direction. But they don't sit us down. So that we sit down and then we discuss these things. Because whatever I'm here, because you know the way we liquor traders are treated, we are treated as if we are drug dealers. We are not drug dealers. If one is a drug dealer, deal with that one individually. Don't make it an umbrella that everybody who sells liquor is a drug dealer. No. So those are the things that, because we are treated different, especially in the township. You won't find those things in town. But once it comes to township, yes, we might be reckless, but that doesn't mean that we are not using our brains. We are independent individuals, and we can use our brains. We know what is right, we know what is wrong. Each and every nationality has got good people, has got bad people. And if you give us opportunity to sit us down, it's easy for us to speak to our counterparts. Guys, the government is willing to give us A, B, C, and D. But we must also look after this as well, because we also need to be responsible from our side, talking to ourselves without you. So that whenever there's a problem, we'll call and say, Alec, listen, the police are complaining about your place. One, Alec, they came again. Rule, you're on your own now. If those guys decide to take your license, it's up to you. Because they came to us and they were lenient, because they gave you warning one, they gave you warning two, but you are not complying. It's up to you. So that is the relationship that we want. Because but anyway, yeah.
Mr. Mapilo,
Yes.
you're very persuasive. You persuaded us about 5 minutes ago. What I do want to ask you though is, you clearly feel that you are being monitored more closely than others. Do you have any sense? You've got sense of how many times they visit you in a month or in 6 months? Do you have any sense of how many times they might meet your members over a period of a month or 6 months? Can you give me any? I know it's a rough estimate, but just for us to get an understanding of how often you are visited.
Okay. It might not be a direct question, but what I would say, because like as I said to you, I'm talking about, when I talk most, I talk about me, but I don't literally mean me. So they might not be coming to me today, but they'll be going to somebody else. When we as liquor traders, we meet, somebody will say, they were there at my place yesterday, they were there at my place last week, they were there, they find me, they did this, they did, I went to court. So it's that is what I'm saying to you, it's as if we are a project. So they are telling themselves that out of that 500 licenses, by November you must have 450. Next year by April you must have 300.
Where do you get that information from?
No, I mean it's the way they are doing it. Yeah.
Are they in fact, from your experience in Gugulethu, are there less people with liquor licenses today than there were 6 months ago? Are there less people with liquor licenses in Gugulethu than, let's say, a year ago? So you have the sense that this project is cutting away. So the question I'm asking is, are there less licenses today than there were, let's say, at the beginning of the year?
No, you know what I can do, because the 45 that I gave you from Gugulethu license is the stats that I got from the police. So if I can get maybe stats for maybe 2 years ago, then I'll be able to answer your question.
Would you mind submitting that to the technical team when you've got it?
Yeah, no, I will.
I think that might be important,
Yeah.
just information for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to sum up some of the points that you made in terms of recommending how you would like to be regulated. One, you're suggesting that there should be consultation. That's one. And then the second one, where you said, for example, you speak with Alec and you could warn him about what he's doing and stuff like that. So can I understand that to mean you also think the industry can also do a bit of self-regulation through the associations? Is that what you would like to see happening? That you as traders, would you like to self-regulate over and above? Because you could have layers of regulation. For example, whoever is now enforcing, which would be my third question. You suggested that if they were consulting, you'd be able to know and speak to the person, whoever is doing, who is not complying. And therefore, are you suggesting that as associations, or as, let's say, Gugulethu Liquor Traders Association, can you have a self-regulatory part? Would you like to see that happening? And is it something that you're recommending to us, that it's something you'd like to do? Okay. And then when you say they come, they, is this the liquor board? Is this, who is they? Who's enforcing? Is it police? Being instructed by who?
It's the
inspectors. Where are they coming from?
It's no longer SAPS. It's the law enforcement, which is the city police, and sometimes they accompany or they are accompanied by the Liquor Authority. Because because to answer that, or just to elaborate on your first question, what we said in our meeting, we need to have a relationship with our DPO, which is the designated police officer of liquor of our of Gugulethu, so that if cases like this, because I would like to hear tomorrow that Alex license has been taken without our intervention. So what we have that relationship with them, we engage them, say, listen, if you've got, because fortunately we are 45, if you've got problems which so with certain with Alex, with whoever's business, go to him, and then if there's a if the problem persists, call us as the organization and say, guys, because we also do have what you call a committee. Let's call it our committee, and then you being the police say, listen, man, we've got this. These people are giving us problems. And we've spoken to these people, and these people those people are not complying. So please, guys, let's talk to these guys. You see, that is the relationship we want to create.
I must just thank you and for very passionate and persuasive submission, Mr. Mapilo. I really do thank you for speaking out, and you've given us a lot to think about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, what we'll do is we'll just have a very short break, a few minutes, and then we will take the next person to make submissions, which is Mr. Siyanda Mnatoza. Shall we, let's reconvene. And we have Mr. Siyanda Notoza to speak to us. Why don't you just introduce yourself and explain who you represent and as a start, and then you can proceed to make your submission.
I take this opportunity to greet you all in the name of Jesus. My name is Siyanda Notoza. I'm coming from Gugulethu, Leaders. Also stay there in Gugulethu, Lostas Park. I'm here today to represent the issue that is involved about businesses, the small businesses. First of all, maybe I will be, since it's out of line, yeah, but I just want to start from the beginning of the, yeah. Me, I started a business, a small business, a small shop, is around 2010. I was still a student doing grade 11. That time I was coming from. I was a gangster, or maybe a schoolie. But through time I changed. Then I decided to do something better to change my life, because that life was not a good life for me. But because of the environment and the situations that I was growing under, I end up doing things that are not on the line. Then when the time goes, I decided to do a change. Then I started to do a small business, a small shop. But the issue that I faced there were that when I opened the shop, there was a lot of people there in the road doing the business where I built my shack. Then the law enforcement came to destroy the shop, saying you don't have a paper, something like a legal paper to do a business here. But there were people there doing business. So they crushed the shape that I built it for my small shop. And I tried to rebuild it. After 4 months it was there, they came back and destroyed it again with the stuff inside. I went to Fezega municipality to report the issue, that I have this issue, this and this and this. They said you must go to Bellville. But my question was, why? Because there are people there doing business already there. Why me? So they said you must go to Bellville and do and report it there. So I decided to stop there. I'll go where I stay in my shack. I try to extend my own shack and do the same business there. So when I was doing business there, they came and said, why are you extending here? I said, this is my own shack. So I'm trying to make a life for me, because the government said you must rise and do something. In Xhosa they said vukuzenzele. So I was trying to do something that will give me bread, give me something to move forward with my life. So they said you must get a paper to do that. I said, this is my own shack. But my question was, there are people who are coming like foreign people. They come and do business and no issue that is following them. But me, I'm a citizen, but there is something. So I noticed that maybe it's power that I don't have. So I decided to just lay low, stop doing that maybe for a while. I continued with my studies. I was doing a grade 12 at 2011. Then when I come out there in the school, I look for a job. But the job was scarce. I didn't get a job. Maybe I get a job maybe for 1 month, then the job ended. Maybe 3 months, then the job ends. Then I decided to go back to business. There was a friend of me that introduced me in the something like this business for tendering. So I tried to engage with him. Okay, we can. Then he tried to introduce me on some things, but it didn't work for me because I was like seeing myself having a big shop one day, something like that, to create life for the people who were like me. Like there are a lot of guys who are still doing what I was doing before, like robbing people in the street, breaking the houses of the people. There are still people doing that. So I was trying to do something that, so that I can be an example or a role model to them, that you can change your life. But I didn't get that chance because each time when I try to move, to make a move, there is this storm that is standing. So that is what is making the life of the business for me to stand. Then I decided to open a small thing. Then I tried to sell chips and coffee, tea bags, something like that, small things. But it didn't work for me well because there are a lot of these people like the foreign guys having shops, and they have a small price than me, because when I go to make a stock, maybe I go to cash and carry, but they don't go there. I don't know where they get the stuff, but they are cheaper than us in the community. So that also kills what we are trying to do to make a move. And I stay closer to Nyamachangshe. So there is a shop right there. It was Pick and Pay before, but now it's ShopRite. And people, they're gonna pass us and go to the Nyamachangshe and buy the stuff there. And they are also close to the Guguletu Mall. So the business, the small business, are not getting that life we are looking for because of the challenges that we are facing, because of the people that has a bigger goals, like bigger capitals to make their things happen. Yeah. So we are having a challenge in small businesses. We are having a challenge. Thank you.
Mr. Namtola, you said, is it Fezega municipality that kept on coming to close your store, or was it Belleville? Because Fezega referred you to Belleville. Who had been trying?
No, it was law enforcement that came there because.
You mean police?
Yeah, law enforcement.
But did they come from Fezega municipality? Because you said you went to Fezega.
No, I went to Fezega to report.
To report.
Yeah, law enforcement was not coming there. But
where
the
were
guys,
they coming from?
I don't know where they come from, but because first time they come a 4x4, and they said what I'm doing there. I tried to explain to them, and they went. They go. When they come with the guys. With a white buggy, and a lot of guys there wearing orange overalls. They crashed the shack. Then I went to Fezega to report that I was trying to do this and this and this and this. So they said you must go to meet. I don't remember the name, Mr. Martin in Belleville. They gave me a number. I tried to call that guy from Belleville, trying to explain what I'm trying to do. They said, you can't do that. But my question was, there are people who are doing business there. There are a lot of people there. Some of them, they have containers there, and they're doing a lot of things, like saloons, everything there. But no one took their containers. But when I tried to make a move, because it was what I was trying to change the life, because I didn't want to go back to my old life, because now I see the light. So I don't know where they were coming from, but I think it was from Belleville, because they refer me to Belleville.
You also said you didn't have, I think the word you're looking for is permit. You didn't have a permit to operate a business in the area. Do you know if the people around you had permits or
No, they don't have a permit.
They don't have-
Because I asked some of them, they in those containers, the saloons, I asked them, do you have a permit for being here? They said no, because before they were inside Lotus Park, but they built a hall they called neighborhood center. So they take them, they move them from there to where they are now. So even they don't have a permit there. So they didn't give me a valid answer like why we are doing this to you, because even those guys, they don't have a permit.
Have you ever applied for a permit?
No, I didn't apply for a permit.
Do you know what is required from you to apply for a permit? For example, how much it costs and what the processes are?
No, I don't know, because I was just trying to open a small shop, so I didn't know if I had to go to apply for maybe a permit, because for that time it was like for something small, because I was still looking forward to go to school, so I was needing that something that will give me a capital to move forward. So I didn't know maybe which procedure to follow or where to go so that I can. That's why I went to Fezeka. I thought they may be gonna understand my story. So no one told me where to go and you must have how much to do this and this and this. So I didn't know.
You also mentioned that some of the people were operating around, is it Loftus Park?
Yes.
Okay, and then was it a shopping center was built in Loftus Park? But what was built there when those people were moved?
It's a wall, a neighborhood center.
A
Yeah.
neighborhood center?
Yes.
What does it have? Is it a shopping
No, it's
area?
not a shop.
Uh,
It's a community hall.
Or community center?
Yes, yeah,
Community center?
community center.
Okay, and then all the traders were moved?
We moved.
Okay.
Just in terms of clarity, when did you open your shop? The one that the shop from your shack that sells basic goods. When did you open that?
I opened it it was 2015, June.
June 2015.
Yes.
And since then, how many times have law enforcers come to your house to your shack to shut it down?
They came 4 times. They came 4 times, yes.
And then when they're there, what do they do?
They just, first time they warned me, they said, you must stop what you are doing, because you can't extend here, because this is not your land. Try to explain to them, no, this is my shack, so I'm trying to make a life here. So they said, you must stop it, or you must go and get the paper that you want to do this. So I went to Fezeka and explained what I'm trying to do. But the councillor said, I can't give you a permit, a paper for that, because I'm not in charge. You must go to Cape Town and talk to them that you want a land. I said, no, I don't want a title, but I need something that can explain to these guys what I'm trying to do. So he said, no, I can't give you that. So the next time they came, they just crushed the small part that I extended. He said, you must stop this. They destroy it, then they just go. So because of that, I didn't know what to do.
So you said they visited you 4 times. So the first time was when you got a warning, and then the second time was when they crashed that part of your shop.
Yeah.
What happened the third and the fourth times?
Then I stopped for a while. I called the guy, they gave me the number, and explained to him that I want to do this and this and this. He said he want to see me. He drive from Belleville. There were two guys with the car, a green and white. They came to where I stay. Then I meet them in the road. Then I explain to them inside the car that I want to do this and this and this and this. So the other guy said, okay, just do what you want to do. Then when you finish, you call us. Then we're gonna come and see what you are doing. I said, okay, it's fine. Then I try to build again a small part of the shop. So I mailed the guy. I told him, now I did this. Instead of the guy to come to me, he came with a buggy with those guys, were orange overall, and he told me that the guy came here before. They told you to not do this. But I explained to them, I showed them the email that I was reporting that I did what the guys told me to do. So they just said, no, we can't allow you to do that. You must have a permit. So I stopped there. Then the fourth time, I went to Fezeka again. So I talked to the councillor, Mr. Dotovian. I told him that I'm trying to do this and this and this, but this guy keep on coming in my shack and destroy my shack. He said the problem, even the shack that you are staying in, there is an owner. Then the person said you must put your shack here in the yard. So it's not even your yard, this one. But I said this person gave me the place to put my shack, and she allowed me to build the shop here. So they said, if she allows you, then what's the problem from these guys? I said, you must write me something as a councillor. You put a stamp, then I give this guy, so that I give these guys, so they can see that I'm not doing something that is coming off my head. At least there is someone that knows in charge there. So he said, I can't do that. So I go home. Then I decided to go to the neighborhood center that they built to explain my story there. So they said, the community committee, they said, we don't see a problem in what you are trying to do, because you are trying to make something small. So as it is, so they said, go and do it. But the problem, when I did it, when these guys came, when I called them, those guys told them, no, you don't have a land here. You don't have a right to tell us what to do. The first time they said so, no one has a right to tell us what to do, because we are in charge. I tried to explain, no, I'm not taking the land. If this place is needed, I can move here. But for now, because it's not needed, it's just there. So I want to use it, please. They said, no, you can't do that. Then they started again.
Every time that you extend you build the extra room for the shop, how much does it cost you?
Yeah, it's because we use zinc. Sometimes, because I used to go to the factory at Flay, so sometimes it's 1.5, sometimes it's 1,000 rand, the zinc. Because the two times when they came, they took it. They said, you don't want to listen, so we are taking this. They crushed them, because the other day they didn't take it, they just destroyed. And you know the zinc here, Cape Town, they are not that quality, so they just.
So in total, how much does it cost to extend the shop?
How much does it cost?
Yeah, how much does it cost you to build the room? So it's about, you said, 1,000 rand to 1,500 rand for the
Yes.
zinc. Is that how much it costs you
Yeah.
in total? Okay, thanks.
I just want to go back. The people kept on coming back to destroy your shop. Do you know where they were coming from? Which municipality? Because it was obviously not Fezeka. So where were they coming from?
I don't know, but I think it's from Belleville, but I don't know.
Did they not introduce themselves? Did they not produce
They
anything?
don't talk. They just do the job When you try to talk to them, they said, no, we were called. But I thought maybe maybe neighbors, because sometimes they come when the neighbors call them that someone is doing this. So they come and they say, it is because the neighbors, they don't like what you are doing. So they said they complain about what you are doing. So they just don't talk. When you ask them, who sent you? They said, it's none of your business.
Do they wear uniforms?
Yeah, they wear orange overalls.
Orange overalls.
Yeah.
And the cars, do they have any logo on the cars?
When they come with a white buggy, no logo. But before they come with the green and white buggy for human settlement. But when they come to destroy the shack, they use another car. It's not the same people that come.
So the people who came in a green and white buggy are the ones who said you can go ahead and rebuild your shack.
Yeah,
Okay. And then those people came from human settlement.
yeah, those people, they were coming from human settlement because they were driving the car from there.
From human settlement.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morales, for explaining your experiences, and all be reported. So, we'll take it into account. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay. And for your submission. I think with that we'll close the session and then reopen tomorrow at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.